WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station.
One man to beat, you can forget about it. Touchdown, Alabama.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. We're live, local, and ready to get things going on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. Also, you can find us on the Martin Houston Radio Network, which you can check out Martin Houston fan page, Martin J. Houston Personal. You can also find us Alabama Tradition, X's and O's Sports, and we add Alabama Tradition and DC Capstone Report into the mix. Also, you can check us out on YouTube at Martin Houston Live and on Twitter at Martin Houston 35. It's a beautiful day, and like I said, we get the opportunity to talk Alabama football, so we want to invite you to join us in that conversation via chat on the social media outlets and or you can call us at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Alabama One hotline is open for business. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. I'm glad to have you up and at 'em with us this morning. Got a great show lined up for you. We'll pick up from where we left off yesterday. We're, of course, going over the scrimmage. We were finishing up the DB conversation and, of course, linebackers, inside linebackers. We had ran some audio for the O-line, which we'll replay that for you before we set that conversation into play, and we may keep that the scrimmage conversation into the second quarter when we bring DC on, so we don't have to kind of repeat ourselves. But there's a couple other topics, maybe fun topics, just to kind of get you guys' thoughts on this morning as you go throughout the morning. I thought it was interesting. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Another former Alabama guy who I don't know what he's searching for, and he'll probably be a guy that guys gets to the league and has an all pro type career because he has the skill set if he gets out of his own way. And of course, that is former Alabama outside pass rusher, Boygby. Anoma. Yeah. In the portal again. Yaba Anoma, edge rusher. He had flashes of being, the predecessor to Will Anderson. A few years back, when you think about it, people thought that he would be, one of the first great outside edge rushers that Nick Saban had. Unfortunate that the young man, I think he's headed to his fourth school at least, maybe fifth school. I can't keep up. I know Houston and UT and Alabama in this one, but I think he went somewhere else and never played. But that may have been the other one. So, but just a sad situation when you think about him and what's happened there.
Yeah, when you hear about your boy Anoma, he really was supposed to be that Will Anderson type player before Will Anderson. And just imagine if he would have been a sophomore or a junior when Will arrived. So you could have potentially had the two of those guys last year running off the edge, and that's just what off of his potential and everything that we heard about him is a scary sight.
Yeah, chances are they would have at least played together Will's freshman year, because I think had he stayed here and did what he was supposed to, he may have been a guy that like a Will Anderson, in and out in three, but just like I said, couldn't get out of his own way, and still maybe struggling with that. But could have. Hey, who knows? He could leave UT Martin, and head to a better place. Last year he had 6 sacks, 9.5 tackles for a loss. Not bad production, but former 5-star. He's listed as a grad transfer. Talking about Ayoba Anoma, former 5-star Alabama commit and player. But talking about something else getting scary, though, edge rusher Will Anderson saying that he has not reached his full potential. Would that classify guys? Well, hold on. Let me. Mason, did you have anything you wanted to say or add to that Anoma conversation?
No, I mean, it's I hate the situation for him. It's unfortunate. I'm sure I don't know all the details, but it sounds like it's kind of just a situation where the kid can't get out of his own way, and I hope the best for him. I hope he can figure it out. But obviously he's very talented. We'll just kind of have to see what happens.
Yeah, like I said, he'll be one of those guys. If he fools around and gets to an NFL camp, he may be a guy that you'll be like, well, I think it was the words of Dennis Green, Denny Green, former Minnesota coach. I think was his name. I know Green was the last one. Denny Green. He said they are who we thought they were. When he was talking about the Washington Redskins, Anoma will be that type of player that gets to the league, and that's probably what we'll say about him. But anyway, Will Anderson probably spoke the scariest words that any college football player that plays on the offensive side of the ball will hear this season or this offseason. I still haven't reached my fullest potential. Some guy went to bed last night after reading that article and had nightmares, Xavier. X, you there?
Yeah, it was a lot of there are a lot of quarterbacks on Alabama's schedule this year that had those nightmares if they hear that statement.
It seems like we're having some challenges there with X cutting in and out. But yeah, we'll circle back to that. Mason, while we're making sure X got a good connection there, yeah, that's probably the last thing an offensive tackle on the other side of the ball or quarterback wants to hear is that Will Anderson is not only does he think he hasn't reached his full potential, he's driven by the fact that he hasn't reached his full potential and is not satisfied with what he has accomplished on the football field. His words were, "I have goals every year, and those goals are going to be even bigger better than the goals I set last year for myself. And yeah, it hits me. It was crazy to think about, but I'm just focused on next season, getting ready to prepare for that season. So hearing Will Anderson make that type of statement and being that driven and focused, Saban has said it, it's always good when your best player is your best guy and your hardest worker.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Will Anderson, just everything that he brings to the team, from his leadership to his work ethic, it doesn't get much better than that. He's going to give you his all each and every day, and that makes everybody else have to play to that level, because he's going to get on your butt if you don't, and you don't want to be the guy next to him who's not giving effort, especially when coaches go back and watch film, because you're going to get called out because number 31 is giving it all and you're loafing, as they like to say.
Yeah, it's kind of funny actually when I was playing. Sometimes we would have to get onto the walk-ons and tell them, "Hey, chill out, guys. I mean, we're in shorts and you're not gonna make the starting lineup by running by me in shorts and all that." We call them short All-Americans, not height-wise, but shorts All-American. I mean, when we were in shorts and not in pads. Or when you're going, half speed, 3/4 speed, they going full speed. But just imagine that's what you got with Will Anderson as a starter. So you very well have to bring your A game if you're gonna be able to stay out there on the field with that guy. And last but not least, just kind of a fun way to end this first segment, guys. I'm not trying to be funny, okay? But could one of you all tell me why Dollar Shave Club endorsed Bryce Young? I'm just kidding. I didn't know Bryce had to shave. No, but seriously, when I saw that, I was like, okay, that I'm not sure which way they're trying to get conversation, because he actually uses them, or because people will react the way I did. Actually, yeah. You and Mason both can come in on that. You go first.
Yeah, Bryce got a little facial hair, but he's still mostly baby face. So that's an interesting combo that you have there. When you definitely got some more guys on Alabama or across the country that have to worry about shaving a little bit more than Bryce does. But hey, it's a conversation starter.
Absolutely. Mason, I mean, did you have a similar response when you saw it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a little funny at first. What can you say? That everybody wants to work with the best quarterback on the best team.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. And I think I found the line. This is why, right here, I start by using their shave butter, which goes on transparently and is suitable for sensitive skin. Okay, all right. That's the whole pitch right there. I definitely see Bryce with the sensitive skin. Okay, all right. No, it's just kind of funny. Like I said, we just having a little fun this morning. We'll get into the serious football talk here in a moment. But hey, listen, get your money and get paid, young man. It worked because we just gave Dollar Shave Club a free commercial right here on the Mark D. Houston Show and on Top 109. So, hey, it's working, and I'm not sure that Bryce will have to refill his blades very often. And hey, that's not all bad. Hey, keep your sensitive skin, Bryce, as long as you can, man. But that's Bryce Young and Dollar Shave Club. Coming back on the other side, we'll continue the conversation. We'll bring DC Capstone Report into it. We'll get some of the audio from Coach Nick Saban regarding the scrimmage, and we'd love to get your thoughts. So give us a call at 205-342-9904. The Alabama One hotline is open for business and waiting on your call.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks and everything pretty quiet on the roadways on this Tuesday morning. If you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, give me a call, 205-886-8886. If you need a new vehicle, then you need to go to Townsend Nissan, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty on both new and used vehicles. I'm Captain Ray.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, brought to you by Pepsi.
If you have a community event in Tuscaloosa and West Alabama, tell us about it. All you have to do is email the information to TuscaloosaPSA@townsquaremedia.com. Be sure to include all the details like the cause, date, time, location, and a good contact name and number. Email it to TuscaloosaPSA@townsquaremedia.com.
Oh, are you seeing these readings? This is incredible.
Short-staffed, Marco's climate research facility is in the eye of the storm. The atmospheric pressure to find more weather specialists is mounting.
Man, this is going to be a big job. We're going to need a bigger team.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, powered by Pepsi. Patients with sickle cell disease may face severe pain, organ damage, or even stroke, but blood transfusions can make a life-saving difference. Join the A to Xi Omega chapter of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and the American Red Cross for a sickle cell awareness blood drive on Wednesday, September 7th from 1 till 6 at the McDonald Hughes Center in Tuscaloosa. All presenting donors will receive a $20 Amazon.com gift card by email. To make an appointment, visit redcrossblood.org and enter sponsor code EXO or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. If you love the open road and you're ready for a new challenge but not really sure how to start, findatruckerjob.com is the one place to help you find your next fulfilling career. Findatruckerjob.com, powered by GoToro, has been a trusted and effective partner for connecting truckers with the best trucking companies for 10 years. You deserve to find yourself a job with one of the best carriers in the country to get you the respect, pay, benefits, and home time you're looking for. Findatruckerjob.com. Text JOBS to 70174 to get your career moving today. Again, text JOBS to 70174.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partly to mostly sunny today, but chance of a few isolated storms this afternoon or this evening. The high today 91, tonight's low 68. Tomorrow not as hot, a mix of sun and clouds with scattered showers and thunderstorms. The high 87. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 71 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Kool-Aid did okay. Jerry Arnold has done a really good job so far in camp. Eli Ricks is still trying to learn, the defense. We can go out there and play with confidence. Kyrie is out, so he didn't participate today with a little bit of a groin injury that hopefully won't keep him out long. And so, some of the young players are, coming along. We moved Antonio Kite to corner, which I think is a natural position for him, and he's done a pretty good job there. So, I'm sure that if you ask them, that all say there's things they can need to improve on. When I watch the film, I'm sure I'm going to be talking to them about what they need to improve on as well. But I think the big thing is keep people cut off, don't give up big plays. That's got to be a critical piece for what we have to do, at the corner position.
All right, that's Coach Nick Saban. we played that audio on yesterday. Dug a little bit into it, but picked up a couple other things on that audio that we did not discuss. And to help us break down that audio a little bit more, we have DC Capstone Report joining the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing great, Martin. How are you this morning? Good morning, X.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Well, first of all, we are going to get into that, but I guess I need to do you a little justice on the basketball. I know you've been high on this basketball team, and of course, they just wrapped up, their trip overseas, international trip. I just wanted to give you a chance to give your thoughts and comments on that before we move into the football conversation.
Well, I told everybody I thought this would be the year that they make the biggest jump, and it seems like in the summer competition, it seems like this team has made a big jump from last year to this year, and I'm excited about them. I think we knew about some of the guys that were the big name stars coming in, and they performed like they thought they would. But I am so excited about Noah Clowney and just the job that he did, just a workman's job throughout all the games. And I know people didn't pay attention to it much because it wasn't on TV or anything, but that Chinese team that they played the last game and beat them, that team had professional basketball players on it. That was a good team they beat. And we've seen other teams go over in Europe and lose some games just because they're playing against professional basketball players that play in the Euro League. So I was just very pleased with what Alabama did and look forward to this season. I think this has a chance to be a very special team, barring any injuries.
And I agree with that. Of course, like you said, there's some that have done exactly what you wanted, and others have stepped up. But for me, the biggest thing that I saw, of course, like you said, we didn't get to see the games, but looking at the box scores and kind of watching from what little highlights we saw, they seemed to be able to protect the board. And when they were having an off night shooting, they didn't get blown out because they were able to defend their own board and get some defensive rebounds and some offensive rebounds. So that would be huge step up for this team just in that one area.
And finishing at the rim goes along with that. The same that same presence inside is really what I'm excited about.
Absolutely. So. But as everyone knows, DC, Bama had their first scrimmage on Saturday, and the usual suspects weren't all necessarily the usual suspects. And we talked about, Eli Ricks is a special player. We talked about, would it be him or Kyrie Jackson? Jackson out with a slight groin injury. And Rick's not the first guy up, but a guy that you had picked and said, hey, this guy, they're going to have to find a way to get this guy on the field. And he appears to be running third cornerback right now, and that's Terrion Arnold. What else did you hear about him coming out of the scrimmage?
Yeah, everything I've heard about Terrion Arnold has been exciting. I mean, everybody that's talked to me about him has said that he has done everything that they need to do over the offseason to get himself in a shape to be consistent. And what Coach Saban's been looking for is consistent play by his D-backs. And he has really stepped up. If you can remember, that's 2 times that Coach Saban's called his name out. And when Coach Saban does that, it's because he's noticing him. And Coach Saban pays a lot of attention to the D-backs. And I think it's telling, with Kyrie Jackson out with a growing pool and Eli Ricks is really not caught up with the defensive schemes. It's hard to play at full speed if you don't know what the plays and calls are. It's really been good for Terrion Arnold to have a year under his belt and come in there and play. And I just don't see how they're going to keep him off the field. His physical presence and really the way Coach Saban described in the clip he played how to play that position, and those are the check marks that he is technically marking off. In spite of his athletic play, it seems to be his technique just jumps off the page. What everybody's telling me.
Yeah, and speaking of that technique, X and DC, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. When you look at what Saban said, he's looking for. I thought it was interesting. He didn't say necessarily play the deep ball. He said we got to be able to cut guys off and avoid giving up the big plays. And both of those kind of go to the same thing, in my opinion. But did that? I didn't pick that up yesterday when we were listening, and I thought, is it possible? Because part of our conversation yesterday, DC, was if anything you want to see is you want to see Alabama be a little more aggressive in playing the ball. When you hear that, what's your first thoughts?
Well, my first thought is that is not really where we had been in years past, and I think that's something that T. Robertson brings into the picture. He has he's aggressive style of play. He's an aggressive coach, and I think he's brought that in. I think Coach Saban really respects him, and as you know, Coach Saban picks and gleans from the best of the best, and tweaks his technique sometimes. And I think that's something that's going to be a little different for Alabama this year, a different look. But I think it plays right into the hand of the way Coach Saban wants you to play: aggressive, in your face, cut the people off, stop them at the line of scrimmage, get your stab on them, and keep them from going downfield, and then and run with them and not be able to give up the big play. And I think that's something that Coach Tavarius Robinson has brought to the field this year.
X, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with DC when you look at what Coach Robinson brings to the table, and hopefully that style that we want to see is the direction that we're headed in with him. And Coach Saban is very hands-on with the DBs, and as long as these guys, as we talked about yesterday, can learn the terminology, learn the technique, that with the combination of those two working with them, it's nothing but the sky's the limit for them. And I think that we'll continue to see things change in the way that Alabama fans want to see. We're playing the ball in the air, cutting these guys off, and staying on top of these routes and not letting the big plays happen.
Yeah, when I hear that, kind of my mind is, okay, cutting guys off, which means a couple things. One is you're anticipating routes, number one, which requires more film study, without a doubt, because you have to learn route combos or route trees, and so in order to cut somebody's route off, that means you have to anticipate where they're going, and you have to be careful that you don't get beat by a double move, which then results in what? A big play. So that's number one. Number one is you cut guys off, guys. But if it's a double move and you cut them off too quick, then you have to be ready to do one or two things: redirect, flip your hips and pursue the guy, and or think about in basketball, guys. If you jump a passing lane, and the guy redirects and you're running some version of zone, right? What has to happen? The next guy in the rotation of the defense in basketball has to be ready to do what? Jump that next zone. And so you just wonder, is that partially what Rick's having a hard time doing? One or two things: either he's jumping the routes too early because he's even more aggressive, and or he's also, when he's the second guy out, he the next guy that you pass it off to, whether off a pick play, screen play, or helping in that next zone, is he being too aggressive? You just wonder if that's what he's struggling with.
Well, one of the things I've heard, and I don't know how true this is, but I'll just go ahead and throw it out there because it sounds reasonable, is that Eli Ricks is great with the athletic ability. He has all the skills they possibly want. But in this scheme, he has a hard time of playing within the scheme. And what I mean by that, I think he's used to in high school and even at LSU playing I would call a freelance type, shadow type coverage. And in this scheme, it's essential that you play what everybody else is playing because everyone else around you depends on it when they stack these coverages up. And I think that's where he's having a hard time, catching on, and that causes some big plays and that causes some breakdowns.
Yeah, right. Especially like I said, if you're if you're the guy that think about if you're the guy that's supposed to jump the guy, boom, that part he may have, right? Because he's kind of aggressive, but that also makes you wonder: are they reading the quarterbacks more? Because in zone, especially in zone, that's where your eyes go, and is he anticipating correctly? Is he studying enough film? Because I think at LSU he played mostly man. I could be wrong, but I think that was his specialty, X. And so here he come in, you're trying to put some of that zone in where you anticipate people crossing your routes. One of the things I tell you what, let's finish that conversation because I don't want to go too long on the break. We're going to come back, finish up the zone conversation, because I think that may be something that we see a little bit more of, and not just because of DBs, okay? What influence may we see in this Alabama football team that on this Alabama defense that may require a little bit more zone than what we've seen, and we have to be ready to jump those routes. We're going to talk about why and what influence may be causing this to be a challenge for Mr. Ricks. That conversation and more coming up right here on the Martin Houston Show. We got DC Capstone Report, and of course, it's Martin and Xavier right here on Tide 100.9.
This is a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
I'm Kim Rankin with your Tide Sports Update. 3 former Alabama football players have made the NFL's Top 100 list, which ranks the top players in the league in 2022. Jonathan Allen made the list at number 88, Mac Jones made the list at number 85, and Jalen Waddle made the list at number 63. Alabama football ranked number 1 in the AP preseason poll. Alabama quarterback and current Heisman winner Bryce Young has inked a new NIL deal with Dollar Shave Club.
This has been a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
Run it again!
For more info on these stories and more, download the Tide 100.9 app.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks and everything pretty quiet on the roadways on this Tuesday morning. If you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, give me a call, 205-886-8886. If you need a new vehicle, then you need to go to Townsend Nissan, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty on both new and used vehicles. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
The perfect place to make your escape. Golden Moon offers 600 finely appointed rooms with incredible views. Take a dip in our Vegas-style infinity pool, complete with a full-service bar and cabanas. Experience the South's premier golf destination at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, or catch the biggest sporting events at Time Out Lounge. So what are you waiting for? Come see us in Choctaw, Mississippi. Golden Moon Hotel and Casino, a Pearl River Resort property.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church your family? Are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our Pep Talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9. We have DC Capstone Report, and he is on the Alabama One hotline. If you want to get in on the conversation, 205-342-9904. Speaking of Alabama One, go check them out. More cash for your car and more truck for your buck. That's the current promotion right now that Alabama One is running. So I want to encourage you to go out there and get that truck that you're looking to get. If you're looking for low interest rates but want to get it paid off early, we have rates as low as 1.99. If you're trying to get that payment as low as possible because you got kids in daycare, you got kids going to college, or you wanting to buy that kid that their 16-year-old car, hey, we can help you with that as well. 84 months on a used car, 96 months on a new car. So 84 for used, 96 for new. And all you have to do is stop by one of our branch locations, 18 to serve you around the state of Alabama, as well as stop by alabama1.org and apply online. So either way, we're here to serve you. Alabama One together. And while you're there, make sure you let them quote your insurance on that auto as well. All right, guys, as we were going to break there, we were talking about Saban in his audio clip made the statement that Ricks is struggling, or he said he's still working to learn the defense. Okay. And you think coming out of spring, came here early, spring, and then you have other guys who just got here who have learned the defense. So it's probably not as much terminology as it is, knowing what to do when certain things are called and working in combo. And with that thought process in mind, Saban said we have to jump routes or cut guys off, is what he said, as well as not give up big plays. Now, someone was added to the coaching staff. To the staff. And he's known as a very aggressive defensive coordinator. Could we be seeing some of this jumping, cutting off routes, and not giving up big plays be directly associated with the Grantham effect, DC and X? DC, you up first?
Well, I mean, we could. That's very possible. And I also think working hand in hand, it's a byproduct of what Pete Golden talked about as a defensive idea. It was to put pressure. You have rushers, get them on the field, whether they're outside, inside, or whoever, linemen, get the best rushers on the field and rush the quarterback. But I think the situation is being able to know when to call the scheme for the rush, to be able to cut off the wide receiver to a point where the quarterback can't make that play. And that's jumping routes and stopping them. And I think that's a lot of emphasis at the whole concept. Coach Saban's defensive schemes work when you layer them on top of each other with the D linemen doing their job, linebackers doing their job, and the corners and the safeties. Now you heard we've heard from Jordan Battle and we've heard from DeMarco Helms, and both of them talking about, hey, we're so comfortable with each other. We know the call before we ever make the call. We know what the other one's going to do. We have confidence in that part of the field being played the way it's supposed to be played. I don't think that same confidence exists in the cornerbacks simply because they're young. And we're talking about, the only one who has experience is Kyrie Jackson, probably and Kool-Aid. So, and they didn't play all the time. So I think that's one of the issues. But Grantham is definitely his style of play probably plays into this cut off, jump the routes type defense.
Hey.
Yeah, when you have that concern of the inexperience at corner, it makes it a little harder to have a guy like Eli Ricks out there because you don't have necessarily the confidence in the group as a whole. Now, I will say, because you have a Brian Branch, a Malachi Moore, a Helms, and a Battle out there that have experience, that could play into his benefit, that they're able to cover some of his flaws and mistakes. But I think Coach Saban wants to see him grow and mature, because I still think Eli Ricks, as far as talent-wise, is the best cornerback on this team. It's just about getting him comfortable enough in the system. And with the aggressiveness that Alabama most likely wants to play with this year, you can't be too aggressive. There's that fine line that you have to touch. And so I think that's the deal with Eli more than anything.
Yeah, and now I'm going to throw on my nerd hat for you guys. Blitzing. When you blitz, you're blitzing for a reason, and that's to bring pressure quick and often, which means what? That the quarterback is going to get rid of the ball quickly if your blitzing is effective. So, ironically, Ricks may be struggling with not necessarily being too aggressive. He could be struggling with not being aggressive enough. Because if I blitz and you're not aggressive and ready to cut that receiver off on the blitz plays, they're going to run. Think about this: if it's a blitz package, or you see a blitz, wide receivers are taught to what? Adjust their routes. And so when they adjust their routes, then the DB has to read, okay, when I watch film, I have to read, okay, if I blitz and that guy is the outside receiver, his adjustment is to run a 5-yard curl. His adjustment is to run a bubble screen. His route adjustment is to run a slant if I'm on the outside. His adjustment is to run a fade if I'm on the inside. So the fact that I'm blitzing, and maybe the Grantham, that's why I said, is it the Grantham effect which would make us more aggressive? If that's the case, then it maybe Ricks is not reading it fast enough, and that 1 second between a thought on a slant route is you jump the route. On a fade route, you make sure you don't jump the route and let the guy get by you on the fade. So that could be one and the same based off of just the blitz package itself. And I agree with you, X. And I don't think anybody on here, let me ask you this way, and Mason, you can even respond to this one. Does anybody on here think that Ricks will not be the starter at corner in 2022?
Maybe this is David DC speaking here, but I mean, I'm thinking that just for myself, what I'm hearing, it looks like Kool-Aid, McKinstry, and Ricks are the two that's running with the starters. And I think Terrion Arnold has a chance to break that lineup, but I don't see why. He's got all the athletic ability, he's got everything. What I think Coach Saban is saying, Martin, exactly what you just said. He just doesn't know the schemes enough to play full speed. It's not that he doesn't know how to play. It's just that he doesn't he doesn't have the confidence to go full speed. That's what Coach Saban said in the clip you read. He's still got to learn in other words, his reaction time he can't just let go and do it because he's thinking so much about the schemes. You don't have him down, Pat. He doesn't have him like DeMarco Helms and Jordan Battle is, where his second thoughts down. And it just goes to show you why Terry Arnold's name is being called. Is he took a whole year to learn the scheme, and now he's put it in practice this year. Now he's playing full speed because he knows the scheme. That's the difference.
Agreed. It's going to take some more time. I mean, there's no reason why he can't start for this team. And if he does, that just shows you how, to me, if Rick ends up being the starter, it shows how much he grows throughout the course of the fall camp and as the season gets started. And it might be a situation where if one of these other guys, a Jackson or a Kool-Aid, struggle, he gets his opportunity and doesn't relinquish the job from there.
Yeah, I'm going to make a bold prediction. He'll be starting by the time we play Texas. So maybe before. I just think he just needs some more live rep, live action, live ammunition. And like I said, I think it's as much, he's been so used to playing a man and just following that man wherever he goes. And like I said, if we're going to be aggressive and getting pass rushes out there and you're going to have to me, you're going to do more stunts and loops and blitzes and all of that because people are going to try to scheme to stop Will Anderson. And you cannot just let them know where he's at and know that he's just going to rush off the edge. And I think with that, you have to make sure that the people behind him, the DBs and the linebackers and the safeties and all of those guys are ready to be as David said, as we said earlier, be a part of the layering of the defense. So I think Rick's will be fine. Coming back on the other side, we'll get that audio from Nick Saban when he talked about the O-line, because I think most of us would say that this was the biggest question of the season. If this O-line is solid, Alabama's on their way to number 19. Is what my opinion is. We'll get yours on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks and everything pretty quiet on the roadways on this Tuesday morning. If you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, give me a call, 205-886-8886. If you need a new vehicle, then you need to go to Townsend Nissan, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty on both new and used vehicles. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning. Lyme disease caused by ticks has become a rising problem in Alabama and across the South, especially with children because they're spending more time outdoors now. Dr. Daniel Sullivan told news partner ABC 3340 more people are outdoors now that COVID-19 restrictions have waned. He also advises checking your children and yourself when you come in from extended outdoor time. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free. I'm Don Hertley.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb Series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Hear ye, hear ye. Thanks for coming to the town square. First, I'd like to tell you about Steve. He's a plumber. I hear he does good work. Also, Tim. He's this new thing called a dentist. Oh, and Monica, she has a new vegan restaurant. I didn't even know that was a thing yet. Anyway, if you need those things, just wander around town and try to find them because the internet hasn't been invented yet, so I don't know.
Well, this isn't the olden days. Now word of mouth has gone online. At Town Square Tuscaloosa, we can show you how to harness the power of your existing word of mouth and amplify it online. Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free local customer analysis where you can see how many local customers in Tuscaloosa you could reach Scrimmage online. Visit townsquarelocal.com and be the Town Square today. That's townsquarelocal.com for a free local customer analysis where you can see how many local customers in Tuscaloosa you could be reaching online. Visit townsquarelocal.com today and be the Town Square.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, powered by Pepsi. The Bright Futures Health Interest Group, supported by Elizabeth Baptist Church in Tuscaloosa, will host its next meeting on August 20th at 11 in the morning. You can meet monthly and virtually to learn from speakers who are physicians, nurses, medical assistants, pharmacists, optometrists, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, dentists, radiology techs, psychologists, nutritionists, administrators, and more. For more info, email brightfutureshig@gmail.com.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Well, it really is hard to evaluate, but I thought the first offensive line was improved. I thought the second offensive line struggled in protection, struggled to run the ball. But I was encouraged by the running backs and some of the plays that they were able to make, some of the runs that they were able to run. So I would say all in all, I thought the first line made some improvement. I thought the second line struggled a little bit at times. But I think every unit had its ups and downs. And I think that's what I'm talking about when I talk about maintaining consistency.
All right, that's Coach Nick Saban talking about the O-line. First line improved, second line struggling, pass run, running backs doing some nice things, inconsistency, which could lead to conditioning. Could be part conditioning. A lot of times when there's inconsistent play, that can be the culprit, not skill set. But hey, we're speaking with DC Capstone Report. DC, tell us real quick what you got out there and what you got on your podcast before we get back into that conversation.
Yeah, you can find us at dccapstonreport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page, and we got the podcast is up, and we did review the scrimmage, what we're talking about today, and we have a section on there on the offensive line and what it looked like out of the scrimmage. So go out and like the podcast, like the Facebook page, retweet it, share it. You can follow me on Twitter at DavidCott50.
All right, at DavidCott50 is where you can find them. All right, DCX, let's talk about this O-line. Should we read much into first line did well, second line struggled? We talked a lot about Ricks not being out there. This O-line, I have not seen the entirety of the clip, but there was, of the five, but I think I know pretty good who they were. And it was some movement in that first unit more than any other position. There were some guys moved in and out. But I have my biggest concern. I think Curtis shares it as well. DC, what are your thoughts in terms of this O-line and Saban's comments?
Well, I'm excited about him saying they were improved because I'm always looking for improvement. I think the improvement comes from Coach Woolford. I think Eric Woolford has been a good addition to the staff. I think the offensive linemen have really, and we talk about that on the podcast, they've really bought into his way of doing things. He relates to the players very well. I think Darren Davenport appears to have really taken over the center position. Seth McLaughlin's on the second team, running second at this point. Darren Davenport, it looks like J.C. Latham has nailed down one of the tackle positions, and Anthony Steen has got the other on the first team. Anthony Steen did really well, held up really well when you're going against some of our edge rushers every day. He did really good in the scrimmage, so I think that's been a positive thing, one of the positive things. Then you got Emil Akior at the other guard position, and it seemed to be locked down that position. So I think the other is the left guard position that we were a little surprised that we have now. The one that's played across the line can play pretty much anywhere on the line. That's the Kendall Randolph, the one that's been in the system a long time. It looks like he's getting his chance to run with the ones and play. I think that's what he wanted to do, and what Coach Saban had already mentioned. He was going to give him every opportunity to win a position on the line. So that was your first team line. The team that struggled, there were some moved in and out of that on the second team offensive line. That was probably one of the reasons they struggled a little bit. They hadn't worked together the full five. But I do know that it looks like that Darren Delacourt has taken over the center position, and from whatever I've heard from him, probably going to win that job.
Yeah, X.
Yeah, I thought the interesting thing was having Randall in at left guard and Cohen not being with that starting line. Now, of course, we know he took some time away this summer to deal with some mental health issues, and I'm extremely proud of the young man for that. But I just thought that was interesting because I felt like he had a really good year last year. So to see him not running with the ones was a little surprising to me.
Yeah, and you meant Randolph at left guard. Kendall Randolph, I think maybe a 6-year guy. Kendall is a guy who paid his dues, and we know that Saban loves these guys that are loyal and faithful to this program and do a good job. And he's done that. He's done everything he needs. But I do think that Cohen is probably being slowly worked back into things. I'll be shocked because I think Cohen was, to me, Cohen, I love Cohen now. Cohen could have had the benefit, guys, of playing next to Evan Neal. Okay? But I'll be shocked if Cohen isn't back out there. That's a pretty stout five, DC, if we got, any of those guys that we just listed, but a Cohen who was a potential All-SEC candidate coming back, Steen, going on his fourth year starting, J.C. Latham, the best in the business coming out of high school, and Emil Ekiyor, you know how good he was. And then if Dalcourt has worked his butt off and is playing higher than McLaughlin into the season playing, y'all love that first five. I'll give you closing thoughts, DC.
Well, I just think the overall scrimmage consistency was the word that Coach Saban was looking for. So I think we just look through this week of practice and get a little more sustained and a little more consistent. I think you'll be happy.
All right, closing thoughts, X, and tell them where they can find you, sir, off there.
Yes, sir. You can find me at XNO Sports across all social media platforms. And if this team continues to improve and fix the little bugs that Coach Saban said need to be fixed in this scrimmage, once again, this 2022 team could be real dangerous.
Yeah, and I think if you got this offensive line playing at the highest level possible, this is one scary team. We'll continue to break it down. Alabama sits atop the coaches poll and the AP poll. We didn't talk about it today, but we'll add that to the conversation on tomorrow as we have a wild card Wednesday. It'll be up to you to bring the content. We'll be here waiting on you right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9. That's DC Capstone Report, DCCapstoneReport.com. You can follow it at DavidCott50 and X with X's and O's Sports. All of that and more right here on your home for Alabama sports. This is the Martin Houston Show. And remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths. And I want to shout out to you one more time. Hey, check us out Thursday at Awakening at 6:30 in Northport. We'd love to have you come out and worship with us at this community-wide service, 6:30 at the Link.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barreau.